Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Credit Podcast. You must be tired of us right now, but we're just supplying you with podcast content, things to discuss, things to talk about. And I'm sure you have listened to many of our podcasts, and the podcast that we posted yesterday was on the Proteas test tour, the drama that happened in Australia, the disappointment. And so now we've got something a little bit lighthearted and a little bit happier because now this is the change of South Africa. We're going to talk about that. But remember, this is your number one cricketing podcast, Full Quarter Podcast. My name is Paul. I've got Tim here. And yeah, we talk all things South African cricket. If you want to know everything about what's happening in South Africa, you come here. And that's why we're doing this podcast. SA20 podcast is going to be nice. We've got a guest coming on who's a friend of ours, which is awesome. And yeah, so if you'd like to advertise on your podcast or on our podcast, we do live reads. Please send me an email at import1wsr.com. We'll read out whatever it is read out. Betway, if you want us to do some betting odds, we could do that too, because I saw that the PAARL Royals were underdogs in at Newlands, and I'm so sure Tim's not going to be happy about that. But I'm taking the PAARL Royals to beat the to win tomorrow night. So if you want us to do odds, we could do that for the games in the week, because I was really surprised that they were underdogs. I thought the other team would be underdogs at home, which would be really nice. But anyway, if you want to do that, please do so, advertise. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to this chat. It really is. It's the start of a new thing for South African cricket. It really does change the landscape quite significantly, and we haven't seen a ball bowled yet.
But so much content, so much social media. You must love this, like all the social media, all the reveals. Like the JOBURG Super Kings made me wait for an announcement of a T-shirt, only for us to see Faf Word on Saturday, and we're like, but what's happening on Sunday then? But yeah, I'll talk about that as we talk about each of the teams and letting you know. But let's get our SA20 guy. Well, he's not an SA20 guy. He's our cricketing guy. And he has a YouTube channel called SA Cricket Talent. So please do check it out. A lot of the guys we're going to talk about here are highlighted on the channel. He's got some great videos. He's a great cricketing mind. So let's get Werner on. Werner Erasmus. I'm going to bring you down the middle. Sorry, Werner, I don't roll my R's, so yeah, it's Werner. So
no problem.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
No, we're good. A couple of seconds on that test tour to Australia. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a hard one. It was so difficult that I didn't even get up at 1 for every day, which I would usually do. I couldn't get myself to do that, but luckily it kind of worked out, because most of the times I didn't. It was raining in any case, so
our younger selves would be very disappointed.
It was a hard watch. Not surprising. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It was hard to watch, but it's not just one thing. We knew that this was going to be difficult going into the tour with the players that we had, the batting lineup. We knew it was going to be a struggle, so I don't think any of us are really surprised.
Yeah,
quite.
I don't think we're surprised, but it's the new dawn. It's the new age. We never thought we'd get an IPL like a T20 tournament. There was a global T20 league where we tried to do it, and it didn't work out because there was a lot of backroom things, and then it became the Mzansi Super League, which I liked. I'd like to see more of it, but that wasn't making money. And then we came with this, the SA20. Graham Smith became director of cricket, and then he left. And then now we came back in a little guise as the commissioner of the SA20 League, managed to get all these Indian team owners to bid on teams in South Africa. And now we have this new dawn. All this money coming in, and it's supposed to change our cricket. It's supposed to elevate us, and it's supposed to land us into into that sphere of the top three to be able to compete with them, not necessarily on money terms, but from a play perspective. We've seen the benefits of the IPL in India, of the 100 in the UK, even though the UK people don't want to give their benefits to that. And so that's why we're here. We're going to talk about all things SA20. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know what the SA20 is, it's our new T20 league. We're going to give you everything you need to know about the new T20 league, what's going to happen, and everything else. And that's why Vanna and Tim are here to kind of, tell us what the teams look like, what happened. But first things first, this is a month-long tournament, 33 games, 6 franchises. There are 102 players, minus a few. Harry Brooks not coming in. Obed McCoy is not coming in. And
Moen
Ali as well. And so now, but still world-class players. And so essentially 6 teams play home and away. And the top 4 will play in the semi-finals, and you have a final. Semi-finals and finals will be up at the Wanderers and at Centurion for the grand final, whatever it is. The finals are going to be at the Wanderers. You know what I mean? IPL type of grand final. That's what it is. It's a T20 tournament. There's supposed to be a little bit of a twist. Playing conditions largely will be obviously strategic timeouts, similar to the IPL, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Some interesting things around the free hit rule. If a ball is bowled on a free hit and it dislodges the stumps, i.e. bowling somebody, the ball ricocheting off the stumps cannot lead to bye, so you can't run off of that. So that's going to be quite interesting. Obviously, it'll be like penalties, in-game penalties for slow over rate, and also with fielding restrictions as well to the team. So we're going to see how that's going to come out. They weren't necessarily clear about that. But same thing. The team with the highest wins, 4 teams with the highest wins will go through. Then it's net run rate and head-to-head and everything else that works through. But what we're here today is to preview the teams, to see what's going to happen. Obviously, tomorrow you've got the I nearly said Mumbai Indians. It's MI Cape Town, my Cape Town, against the PAARL Royals in a Cape Derby of sorts. And so we're going to be talking about everything else. It starts that. There'll be a game every day. It's going to be nice. It's going to be T20. Everyone likes T20, I'm sure. Okay, so what I've asked the guys in terms of a light-hearted thing is we're going to go look at the teams. We're going to talk about their strengths, their weaknesses, the big players, the players to watch out for. And then on top of that, what they remind you of. What character of this team. So if you're looking for a team to support, this is the podcast for you, because we're going to tell you which team you should support and not, or if you or support as well. But let's start with the team in Pretoria. They call themselves the Capitals after the Delhi Capitals. This team has the likes of Anwar Nokia, Miguel Pretorius, Riley Rousseau, Phil Salt, who's a really good batter, Wayne Parnell, Josh Little from Ireland, Sean van Berg, Adil Rashid, Cameron Delport, Will Jacks, Tennis De Brain, Marco Murray, Jimmy Nisham, Kusal Mendes, Darren De Pavilon, Shane Dadswell, Ethan Bosch, and Senaran Mutusami, who was their wildcard pick. I'm going to start with you, Vanna. Who should I fear in this team, and why?
There's a couple of guys. I'll probably start with seeing as he's on that list. We also saw how he bowled in the T20 World Cup. He was probably the Proteas' best bowler during the Australia series, where he clocked 150 on multiple occasions, made life difficult for Warner up to the point where he even said that was the quickest bounce ever faced in his life. And so that says a lot, because Warner has been there, done that. So I think he's going to be one to look out for, especially seeing as they're playing in the IFL. He's used to playing in PE, so this will be a dream for him playing up there at Supersport Park. So I think he's definitely one to look out for. And then I think both English guys, actually, Phil Salt and Will Jacks, they are very destructive batters. They have that typical New English mentality, I'd call it. So you combine those two with Riley Rousseau, and you have some real firepower at the top.
Tim, looking at this at the squad that they have, I'm worried about the bowling. Should I be worried about the bowling? Because I can see the batting firepower, but the bowling, is it going to be Rashid and Sean van Berg? And then you're going to have, obviously, Anwich. Because I'm not a fan of, like, I know what Miguel has as a potential, but he hasn't necessarily brought that through. Because outside of Anwich,
Yeah.
who else?
Yeah, look, I don't think Mikhail is going to play every game. He'll play a couple of games, sure, but I don't think he's going to be in the first 11. You know, they're going to sort of bed him in, if you like. The bowling is a little weak. I tend to agree with you. It's going to come down to the experience of Rashid and somebody. I'm just looking here now. I think Parnell is going to be crucial to this lot. Parnell, this is his format. Now, we've seen him in the Proteas, the longer formats, and the 50 overs, but this is actually his best format. They're going to be leaning on him as a captain as well, so they're going to be expecting a lot from him. Dupavalon as well. I think Dupavalon is going to be a very good buy, particularly the death overs. I think it's going to be I'm sure there'll be some fantasy teams around the world. If you're looking for fantasy players, Dupavalon is definitely somebody I would be picking. Just to make one slight announcement in terms of the side, be aware of Josh Little. He's only going to be there for 2 weeks because he's going to be playing for Ireland. So he's going to be there for the first 2 weeks. It's a big shame for Pretoria Capitals because they need him in their bowling department with their slower balls, changes in pace.
Isn't he also a left armer?
No. Josh Little. Yes, I think so. Yes.
No, wait,
yes.
I've got it here.
Yes.
Yes, Charles, that's
Check.
always left hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a left
Yes.
armer. Yeah.
Yes, left armour. That's right.
They've got a lot
That's
of left armers in this SA20, like in the bowling attacks. It's really interesting. Werner, is Shane Dadswell going to get a game? He's the explosive guy in that lower middle order because that's the other area. Obviously, you've given me Will Jacks, you've given me, and I think Will Jacks can play in that middle order. You've given me Phil Stolt, you've got Tennis, you've got Riley, top order. That 5'6", 6'7" explosive guy. Is Shane Dadswell going to be some sort of like a find of the Capitals?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down between him and Marco Mare. I think they're vying for one spot in that middle order, and I don't know who they're going to go with. Maybe it comes down to which of the two look better in the nets leading up to the first game. So Shane Dadswell might be, but I think Marco Mare as well. I think they're very similar type of players, very destructive. So I think both of them have immense potential and could be breakaway stars, if you want to call it like that, for the tournament. So I wouldn't mind either one. But I'd like to. I did decently at the Lions before now, obviously, moving over to Division 2. Mark Murray is also in Division. Both of them, they'd love to have a chance to put their name in lights.
Yeah. That's actually quite interesting. So, guys, when I look at that team, I look at the Capitals, I look at the kit, they're wearing light blue. The Titans remind me of a blue bull. They're the blue bulls of rugby, the premier cricketing team in the country. That's what the Blue Bulls are. They've got all these titles. They have everything else. The Capitals don't remind me of that. The Capitals remind me of their cousin that lives in the fancy part of Centurion and has a lot of money. And they don't have that star power that's like raw Afrikaans star power, the ABs, the FAFs, and everything else, which was surprising that they didn't want to like pre-buy FAF because that kind of makes sense, right? And it's more of a we're the cousins who live on the other side of the tracks, may not be Blue Bulls fans, and maybe they're Sharks fans, so it's a little bit light. It doesn't give me that, oh, this is the Titans, this is scary. Tim, what when you look at this team, what do you think?
I think it's going to rely on, there's English guys. If the English guys come off, they can go far in this tournament. If Salt, Jacks, and Rashid come off, they will do well. If they don't, if they have bad tournaments, they're in trouble. That's essentially, and that isn't the case with every team that we've got in this competition. But with this one in particular, if those guys, and I think they're going to play every game. I'm looking at this. I looked at the sort of 11 that I would be picking, and they will be playing every single game, barring an injury. So if they come off, they will do well. If they don't, they're in trouble. The other thing is Will Jackson's off spin will be very, very handy in this format. He's just found a nice rhythm. He's now bowling in Test cricket as well. So it's just this last sort of 12 months where his bowling has taken a real leap in his cricket at the moment. We know about his explosive, his batting, but don't forget about his bowling. He's gonna get wickets.
So this is the Titans' English cousins, essentially. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed.
Titans.
Yeah.
The Titans' English cousins. Vanna, you look better. A little bit less grainy. Can you hear us? You're on mute.
He's on.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what issues I'm having today.
That's okay. We'll get through it. Yes,
We'll fight on. We'll keep going.
Yes. Vanna, obviously I said this is the Titans' English cousins. What do you think of this team? Pretoria Capitals.
Yeah, so they are the team I'm going to support because I'm originally, I grew up mostly in Pretoria, so that's the team I'm going to support. And they're looking very strong in a batting wise, but I am a bit concerned about the bowling. I think it's going to come down to how they decide what they're going to go with, because you have Henry, you have Parnell, you have Adil Rashid. Then you have Jimmy Neesham, who I don't trust to bowl 4 overs. You have you can probably put Tusami in there, and then it's Palm and Ethan Bosch. Now I've been very impressed with Ethan Bosch these last couple of seasons. He had a particularly good CSAT20 challenge, so I wouldn't mind seeing him in there, give some movement. So there is some potential there. You might see them using Josh Little in the IFAB, maybe using at the other venues. I don't know if they can fit both in if you want to have Will Jacks and Full Salt, because they're probably going to go with Will Jacks, Full Salt, and Ammunition. So that means you need to pick one of Josh Little or Adil Rashid. So it'll be interesting to see how they go there. But obviously, if Josh Little needs to go to and play for Ireland, then that decision will be made for them.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next team. This is the team I'll be supporting. The Joburg Super Kings. They had a launch yesterday. It was really nice chatting to the guys. Faf du Plessis was pre-board. He's the captain. Joe Kutsia, when he comes back from Australia, he'll come into the side. Romario Shepherd, Mahesh Tikshano played for Sri Lanka. You've got Yanaman Malan, Reza Hendricks, the 2 top run scorers in the MSL. That was like a perfect buy for me. Carl Verena, when he comes back from the Australia, which will be this week. You got George Garton, who's the left armour. Alzari Joseph looked good. Lias Duploy, Louis Gregory, Lazard Williams, Andre Berger, Donovan Ferreira, Malusi Saboto, and Neil Brand. He came in for Caleb Seleka. And there's a name missing at the bottom. That's Aaron Pangiso's name. I'll just move my little cursor there. He's the wildcard pick. And I'll tell you now, gents, these are the champions in waiting. They are well captained, well led. They have a power packed top order. Had Harry Brooks stayed, you would have just given me the trophy. I've been going to Cape Town tomorrow to collect the trophy and just leave it at the Wanderers. But obviously Harry Brooks not there, so that middle order looks a little bit shaky. But Carl Verena comes in, and it's really important for Carl. I think if he can get this going, he'll be walking into that Proteas setup, and I think that's what they're banking on. Donovan Ferreira is there as well, who I think, or many of us think, should be in that side. From a bowling perspective, obviously George Garton, we haven't seen lots of him. I saw him a little bit yesterday. He looked really tidy. Romario Shepherd can bowl a couple of Yorkers there for this team, and I think for me, it's that spin bowling. I don't know where it's going to come. Are they going to give Pangiso an opportunity? Because I think Pangiso is the guy that needs to play. And so I don't know how they're going to do it, but they've got Nandre Burger, they've got pace for days. It's Thunderbolt and Lightning. That's how I see this team. It's Thunderbolt and Lightning and tight pants. It's everything that's good about Johannesburg. It's fashion and it's yellow and it's fast and it's sexy bounce. It's a sexy bounce team because that's what's going to happen. Because when you come to the one who's going to score 200 and they're going to dare every other team to chase 200 down. Am I right, Tim?
Incorrect. No, look, if you had Brooke and Ali, I would agree with you. If you had Brooke and Ali in that top 6, my word, it would be unbeatable, particularly on paper when you've already got the people that you've mentioned. When you've already got Faf, you've already got Ferreira, it would be unbeatable. That top 6. I think you've got a problem now. I think without Moen particularly being such a good all-round package, I think you're gonna miss something. Yes, you're gonna make runs. Undoubtedly, you guys are gonna make runs. My issue comes with the bowling. I've got huge problems with that bowling because Romario goes for plenty. He goes for plenty. Gregory, who I think now has to play because Moen Ali isn't there, goes for plenty. Don't rate him. It's going to go down to... And then you're left with Burger. I think Burger's going to start. I love Burger. I think you have to play Pangiso. I think Pangiso has to play. And then you've got Thikshana. So you're basically going to go with 3 bowlers
And
with a bit of off. Hey? Again, Joel Coetzee is in the same place of Michael Pretorius. Michael Pretorius is better than Joel Coetzee in this format, in my opinion. Joel Coetzee, again, if you pick him, you're guaranteed for going to playing 50 runs. Then you're going to have Joel Coetzee, Gregory and Romario Shepherd, who are, I cannot guarantee they're going to bowl 4 overs for less than 40. I can't guarantee that, particularly on the high fault when there's going to be lots of runs.
That's gonna
so
fly,
I think there's a risk involved there. It's asking you guys actually to score 220, 230, not 200. I think batting wise you're fine. Batting wise you're fine. Bowling wise you've got a problem.
Vanna, are you agreeing with Tim here? I'm sure you are. But, like, it's all about the batting. That's what T20 is about, right?
It's all about the batting until you bat first and the other team gets to chase against you. Agree with I had this same worry about the bowlers and the all-rounder spots in particular. I think I mentioned this in the little preview I did, that I'm very worried about that all-rounder spot because all of the all-rounders they did pick going at the economy rate of over 9 as a base. And then you have Gerald Coetzee, who's generally expensive. I expect him to step up if given the opportunity because I think he has the head for it. But I wouldn't rely on him to be your guy who concedes 30 runs or less in an inning. I think Nandre Burger will do well. I think Ozari Joseph will do well. Diksana will do well. But then the other options are the considered this stage. Great if you can fit in as well. But yeah, so I am concerned a bit about that aspect of the team. But top order obviously looks good. I think a lot more now that Harry Brook is not there, so he's rolling a little.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you in terms of Harry Brook. I think, oh man, Harry Brook. Honestly, easily, come on, like, yeah. Just, why is he agreeing to it when he? Yeah, but anyway, that's okay. Fine. Okay, I can't convince you on Team Sexy Bounce. Fine. Okay, let's move on to the next team. This is every social media South African fan's dream. Aiden Markham finally gets to lead his side. finally gets to do this in a format that he's very good at. And I look at the names of this team: Aiden Markram, Othniel Bartman, Marco Janssen, Tristan Stubbs, Sisanda Magala, Junaid Dawood, who's a really great leg break bowler, Mason Crane, John Smuts, Jordan Cox, Adam Rossington, Rulof van der Merwe, Marks Ackerman, James Phillip, Bryden Carr, Sadal Adviet, Ayat Kamane, Tom Bell, and Jordan Hammond. There's two things that I think about in this team when I look at it, Tim. There's quite a lot of leg break bowlers. It was like Janetta Wood's fine, but like got Mason Crane too. But anyway, but this is potential FC. Everyone else here needs to live up to the hype. It's actually hype FC. It's everyone needs to live up to the hype. Sisanda needs to live up to the hype, even though he has done it. But yeah, Aiden Markram's obviously needing to prove that he can get back into the test side, and he's the guy who led South Africa to a World Cup, their only World Cup victory. There's obviously Marco Janssen, there's Tristan Stubbs. It's very young, it's very exciting. It's just all hype. Can they do it on the field, Tim?
They can. You and I spoke earlier, actually yesterday, about Markham captaincy. Mm-hmm. This is audition for him. Let's not make no bones about it. This is an audition for him, playing a world-class tournament with world-class players. Mm-hmm. If he can get the best out of this lot, that's a cap for him. That's a feather in his cap for him, you know. But it is going to rely on. We talked about earlier about the English guys having to come off. If the South African guys don't come off, if the Markrams, the Stubbs, the Smuts, the Hermans, if those guys don't come off, they're dead in the water. As far as this competition is confirmed, they need those guys to step up, perform, take the medal. They are the guys that need to be doing it. Yeah, as I said, we've got a few English guys in there, but they're not the experience in terms of A, playing in South Africa, and B, in this format. They're good players. Now, I like Mason Crane, but it's still going to be the Stubbs, Markram, Magala, and that show. It's going to be that show. If those boys come off, good tournament.
So, Werner, what Tim's trying to tell us is that local is lacquered here at Sunrisers EC.
Yeah, sorry, I just missed the part there, but yeah, locally is definitely going. The local guys are going to be very important, but I think those English guys need to step up because so they are going to rely on them as well. You have Tom Abel, you have Jordan Cox. Luckily, these guys in the last little while have started playing overseas leagues, and they do have good strike. They can play to what their stats tell us they can do. Then that'll be great for the Sunrisers. Obviously, Markram's going to be vital with Stubbs in the middle order. You can see them putting up some big scores or chasing big scores down. Obviously, John Smuts knows conditions like the back of his hand. He's been there all this time. Only now has he gone to the Dolphins, so he's a great asset to have. They're a good all-round contributor. His left-arm orthodox is going to be very handy on those pitches as well. I like the look of their bowling lineup with Magala and Janssen. I quite like the look on it. I know quite a lot of people said that they don't know about the Sunrisers, but I kind of like this side, and I think they do stand a chance.
Okay, they stand a chance. Oh, you heard that. All you Quebec natives, all you people who come from the Eastern Cape but are now living in Johannesburg or in Cape Town, this is a team to support. You know, you may not have a rugby team, but they're not the Sharks. But, you know, here's a team to support. It's a cricket team to support. Okay, let's go to the land of the Sharks. Werner told me about this and I laughed. I laughed so hard. I thought this team was called Durban Supergiants. There's an apostrophe S after the N. So it's Durban's Supergiants. So just get it right. It's Durban's Supergiants. But anyway, outside of that, Quinny de Kock is the captain of this team. Jason Holder's in there. Reece Topley. Carl Mayer's from West Indies. He's next not going to leave South Africa for like 4 months. He's going to have a house live because the West Indies are coming in for a test series. Prendelin Subrian, Dwayne Pretorius, Heino Klaassen, Kimo Paul, Keshav Maharaj. Carl Abbott's not playing, so scratch that name. Junior Dala, Dilshan Madhushankar of Sri Lanka, Johnson Charles, Matthew Bretzker, Christian Jonker, Simon Harmer, Vian Mulder, and Akila Dhananjaya. When I look at this team, Vanna, I see the amount of spinners they have, and I'm like, okay, so someone between Simon Harmer and Keshav Maharaj is benching. Yeah. But obviously they're playing in KZN, so they can play all three. Because Brendan Bryan was pre-bought, so I'm assuming he's a shoo-in to start. I don't know. But I look at this team and I'm like, you need to have a second skill in this team to be in this team. If you don't have a second skill, everyone looks at you going, what are you doing? They've got a lot of all-rounders, but some of the guys are not really all-rounders. I look at like a Kyle Mayers. I'm like, can he give you 4 overs? Maybe he can. You know, Johnson Charles has got a wicket keeper, but he's probably the replacement of Quinny de Kock. You've got Simon Harmer who can bat, but he can bowl, but batting, we saw in Australia, he can do it. Obviously, Vian Mulder's the all-rounder. We've seen that. Obviously, Keshav is there, but his batting in this format, I'm not so sure. But obviously, then you get guys like Dwayne Pretorius, Heino Klaassen, who are really, really good as all-rounders, and Vian Mulder. Is that what Lance Cruz was going for, Vanna? Just guys with skills?
Yeah, it seemed like you either have to be an all-rounder or you need to be a wicketkeeper. That's basically your into this side. I looked at that auction and I was amazed at how they picked their players. To be honest, I know sometimes you look at a side and you say, okay, they don't really have an all-rounder, so they can't really balance the side out. This is going the exact opposite direction, and there's too many all-rounders and not enough specialists. You look at it, there's not enough specialist batters, there's not enough specialist bowlers, and it's looking all a bit neither here nor there. So I am a bit concerned about this team. I'm hoping they surprise us. I'm not betting on it, but I'm hoping they surprise us. But a lot's going to depend on Quinny at the top, Henrik Klaassen as well in the middle. I don't know, they're going to expect a lot from Matthew Bretzker. Still very young, up and coming. Had an exceptional T20 knockout competition in 2021. They need that type of form for him in this tournament. Bowling is also, you have Reece Topley. He's a good left-arm option. You have Jason Holder. But then you have a bunch of the other all-rounders. You need to use pace options, or you just go in with 3 and you bowl 2 pace bowlers. You use a Brian Death because he has a good Yorker in ways we don't see coming.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Tim, what do you think of this team? Because I, like, as Vanna says, like, from an 11 perspective, I'm like, when they play JSK in 2 days, I'm gonna be, well, tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, oh, so this is how you want to line up, because they're playing in Durban in any case. But I don't know, because when we did the previous show, this was the team we're worried about. Are you still worried?
Very worried. Werner hit the nail on the head brilliantly when he just said, T20 cricket is all about picking guys who can do more than one. You need to have, 2 or 3 guys that are able to do both facets of the game. But this is just gone the other way. Britsky really sticks out in this team because Britsky is there, it's bat, and that's it. That's all you're going to get from Britsky. Nothing else. I hope he does well because I love him, and I actually think that Eddie Moore moving has given him a bit of space to breathe, and he's actually flourishing. But I do worry about the side, and I was worried at the 11 this morning. I did Quinton de Kock, Johnson Charles, Britsky, and then it could be anything. It could be anything from
anybody else randomly.
It could be any order from then onwards. Any order. It could be anywhere. It's such a mix of a side.
Jason Holder batting at 4.
It could be. You could do that. Pinch it a roll. You could have Pretorius take the titular role. Carl Mayers. I mean, it's a side that could shock us, but I'd be very surprised if it did. I'd be really surprised if they did stuff. I feel sorry for somebody like Topley, because Topley, providing he's fit, he's a very good T20 bowler. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He has nice extra bounce, causes people all sorts of problems, gets the ball to come back in with his left arm. But if he gets injured, for example, and he has been injured recently, that there are big problems for the Durban side. Big problems. So they will be holding thumbs and everything else that he stays fit.
My worry about this side is that they might not travel well. I think it's set for Durban with all the spinners. Like, if they're playing in Durban, just play Simon, Keshav, and Prenelin. It's fine. You'll win. Like, you know that. You'll strangle teams. But, like, away from home and, like, in the Highveld, maybe Cape Town, they might be fine. But, like, on the Highveld in Pretoria here, maybe even the Eastern Cape, they'll really struggle. Because Reese is, like, the only guy. And then everyone's complaining about Lungi's pace. Jason Holt is, like, that guys. No, like, yeah. But anyway, we'll move on. Okay, so 2 teams that are left. They are going to be opening the tournament today. It's going to be great. The team that wears pink and another team will wear blue. Lots of color. Great. Real men wear pink. We're going to talk about their away team, the PAARL Royals. I don't know if Tim's going to support this team. I would, because they're closer to the wine in PAARL. This is a dad's army to me. And when I read these names, you understand why. David Miller, Joss Butler. Obed McCoy has now left. He's injured. They've got Corbin Bosch, Lungin Gidi, Tabre Shamsi, Jason Roy, Dane Villas, Bjorn Fortuin, Mitch van Buren, Vian Leboeuf, Fresco Adams, Imran Manak, Evan Jones, Ramon Simmons, Owen Morgan, Cody Yusuf, and Andile Petluguayo. All just veterans who've played this game. A lot of their stars are veterans who've done it before. There's not a lot of, I don't know what they're going to give me. Obviously, you get that out of the guys like Mitch van Buren. We know what Frisco Adams can give us. We know what Vian Leboeuf is going to give us. Like, Evan Jones and Mitch van Buren are the 2 guys I look at and I'm like, okay, that's the ceiling race. Those are the guys you don't know. But everybody here, just seasoned pros. Dad's army, over 30. If I was going to, it's like Chennai that came to South Africa, but then decided to wear pink. Vanna, am I right? Wrong? Where am I on this team?
Yeah, they look very good on paper to me. It's going to come down to who do they want to pick as their all-rounder, I feel. Because you can have Evan Jones. He's a big striker. He bowls a heavy ball, can get it up to 140. He'll be good, I felt. But I feel if you go down to the coast, you might want to try Andile rather with his cutters. So they might do a conditions-based pick. Or they look set Josh Buddy with Jason Roy, who they will hope regain some of his form. They also will hope that Owen Morgan in his form as well. I think both of them are going to be important for them. They want to do well. Obviously, David Miller, captain now. I'm sure he doesn't want to come lower than 4. He'll bat where he batted for the Gujarat Titans. And then you go down that list. It looks pretty strong. At bowling, they have Lungin Giri, they have Tabre Shamsi, they have Bjorn Fortuin. I'd love them to play for Risco Adams in all games. I really rate him as a T20 bowler in particular. He has great variations, great Yorker, more than I knew of the bat. He has 6 first-class hundreds. So there's definitely a guy I would pick in all the games, actually, ahead of Andile and Evan Jones, and then you choose between Evan Jones and Andile. That's my opinion. Obviously not as known for some people, and you wouldn't have seen him internationally, but if it were me, I would go with him just because of the variations he brings and the ability with bat as well. So I think that they're looking pretty good, actually. I think they'll be really competitive in this tournament. I like their auction. They went hard early. You could see they knew what they wanted and they went for them, and they actually got the likes of Shamsi and he probably at a cheaper price than you might have expected, just because they went early for them and the other team sort of hang back and looked what would happen. So I think they had an excellent auction, probably one of the best. I think the team is stacking up well.
Okay. Yeah, look, I think I can look at this team and I'm like, if it's not JSK, it's PAARL. It has to be PAARL. Tim, is that the same sentiment that you have?
I like this team, but it does have a few problem areas for me. Morgan doesn't play a lot of cricket at the moment. Yes, he has found a little bit of form. I forget now in particular what T20 competition it was. But before then, his form completely lost him. And Jason Roy is really struggling at the moment. But I can't see them not playing both of them. They bought both of them. They're gonna play both of them, so they're gonna need them to come off. I do like the side. I do like the options. I do like the fact that they can choose between Evan Jones, Fionn Lipper, and Fariska Adams as their all-rounder. I think all three of them could make a strong statement as to playing. It just comes to what the team are looking to do. If you want somebody who's going to hit runs and bowl, Lipper is going to bowl. He's going to, I would imagine, battle the top four. Be the sort of pinch hitter role. If you want late order runs, you go with Evan Jones and Fariska Adams, and rely more on their bowling. Say that they're definitely going to bowl those 4 overs, whereas Fionn might not bowl his 4 overs. He might bowl 2 or 3, and spread it out a bit. I do like the side. McCoy is a miss, though. McCoy is a miss.
Death bowling for me is the problem with this team.
Death bowling, as you said, is you don't want to replace McCoy with Corbin Bosch.
Which could also, Corbin starting, I think. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a fan of him. I don't think he brings much. I think he's obviously top. Like he's one of the better bowlers we have in South Africa, but I wouldn't put a whole attack on him. But it's going to be I think Andile might come in because Obit's out, and Andile might bat at 8, and come in as just that bowler to give you those 4 overs. And I think if you have a team like that with Andile batting at 8, you have every chance to win this tournament. I know a lot of people don't like Andile, but Andile as a bowler, with all those skills that he has, with Lungi Azo with all those skills, I think you might have a really nice situation there that you land on by chance because someone got injured. But yeah, so that's an interesting one about that team, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they line up later on tonight to see actually who makes the grade. It's an interesting thing about this tournament. You're not going to see the team before the toss. The teams are going to announce after the toss. I don't know why, but it's weird. Anyway, okay. In soccer, you have an hour before the game and you give the team sheet. Rugby's the day before. Cricket, it's at the toss. Now it's oh no, we're going to toss the coin and then we're going to decide. Okay, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. We'll see it. Cool. Final team to talk about. That's the team that's hosting the opening game, MI Cape Town. A lot has been spoken about this team. Their social media presence is everywhere. Cooks is like their ambassador, which means that I have to support the Joburg Super Kings because I can't support the same team as Cooks. We just always have to have natural rivalry. But anyway, this team on paper, wow, just youngsters and it's the opposite of the Dad's Army. This is youngsters who can do it. But can they? And we'll see. But anyway, Kagiso Rabada, Liam Livingston, Rashid Khan's the captain, Devil Brever, Sam Curran, Rassi van der Dissen, Ryan Rickleton, George Linda, Björn Hendricks, Duan Janssen, Delano Potgieter,
I think we just lost him, Paul.
I think so.
I think I lost everyone. Sorry.
All I can see is the team. I can't. Hey, is he back?
Sorry.
Paul?
Hey guys, I'm back. I'm going to take this off. Sorry, I just got kicked
No
out
worries.
for weird reason. Anyway, to the MI Cape Town. So I was at Wakar Salam, but there's always been Marshall, Ollie Stone, Grant Wilson, and Joshua Arthur. If there ever was the best pace attack award, the fastest pace attack. This is the Fast and the Furious. This is what they are. They are coming here to entertain you. They are coming here to give you 250 for 3 and bowl teams out for 70. But they can give you the other side too. They can give you 90 all out. And yeah, they can't defend 150 or something like that. So this is like risk it, no biscuit. Tim likes this. He's a Tampa Bay fan. Risk it, no biscuit. You know it. If there ever was I want the shiniest thing. This is the Ferrari, a blue Ferrari.
Yeah.
Let's call them that. They're the blue Ferrari. Tim, you're supporting this team, I assume. So talk to me about your blue Ferrari.
Tournament favourites. Tournament favourites for me. Tournament favourites. Not necessarily going to win, but for me, right now, as you say, on paper, they are it's just incredible. If everybody comes off, then my word, it's going to be a lot of runs. Let's put it that way. A lot of runs and a lot of pace. And I'm not even sure I'm opening with Wesley Marshall. And that's how strong this team is. I mean, it is just incredible. All right, I'm thinking just on that. I'm thinking Rulofsson. Rulofsson is in better form than Wesley at the moment, so I'm thinking along those lines. It's so strong. Honestly, it is so strong. The 6 hitting ability of this team, from Riggleton to Brevis to Livingston to Marshall to Linda to Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan at what? I think it's going to be an 8. Zab Curran. Oh my word, it's so strong. And Archer and Rabada together. I don't know if Rabada's going to play tomorrow, having just come back from Australia. But for the tournament, Rabada and Archer together is going to be. And then when that's finished, Rashid Khan comes on and bowls you out.
And Sam Curran with his left armers. Okay, Werner, are you as excited as Tim? Is this the blue Ferrari or is this like a blue Volkswagen?
No, I am very excited. I think they did the other teams a bit dirty with their picks before the auction. I mean, going into the auction, you saw Curran, you saw Rashid Khan, and you saw Livingston, and you're like, okay, but this team is already the best. They already have the core there. Nobody else is going to get these guys into their sides. And so it almost seemed unfair. I don't know what they paid for them. I'm sure they'll never tell us. But in any case, they're looking extremely strong. I'm trying to look at negatives in the side, what we can pick out that might hinder them, and it's very hard to see it. But
it's that middle order.
There's one small thing is that middle order. If you look at Brevis, I don't know if he's going to open or bat 3. We'll see. And you have Rassi. What if they get stuck for a bit? Because both of them can get stuck sometimes in this format. Brevis has a weakness against the short ball. We've seen him get out to it multiple times. So you can expect bowlers to attack him with the short ball. So that's the one little area I can pick out. If you have Grant Rulofsson, who's had a good season, but can also from time to time get a bit stuck. You have Rulofsson, Brevis, and Rassi. If those 3 are in and struggle and don't get out, that's the only time I see MI struggling a bit.
Okay, cool. So we've gone through all 6 teams. Now it's time to do the predictions. Okay, let's start with the champions. Outside of the team that you're supporting, who do you think is going to win? So I'll go first. I'll put my name head on the block. PAARL Royals is winning this thing. Tim, I know you think MI Cape Town's going to win, and they probably will, but who are you looking at?
Yeah, I would have picked you. I would have picked JSK if it was Brooks and Ali. And I would have had 100%. I can't look past the Royals with you, like you. I don't want to agree. I want to, be controversial, maybe, but I really can't see beyond the Royals. I just think that those two sides are gonna be right up there. I think the Royals is the best balanced side of the lot. I really do.
Yeah. Vanna, which team are you going for?
Seeing as you guys brought me in, especially I'll be the tiebreaker. I'm going but left field. I'm going for the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. It's nobody's gonna see it coming. Aiden Markram is going to lead them to victory. Marco Janssen towering over everybody. You'll see Tristan Stubbs hitting everything out of St. George's, and John Smuts best homecoming, and it's just all going to come together.
Yes. John Smith's best homecoming. Top run scorer, guys. Head on the block. I'm going Faf du Plessis. I think Faf is in amazing form. Tim?
That's a difficult one. I'm gonna go Captain Miller.
Okay. Vanna?
I'm gonna go Captain Miller, the Royals.
I'm going Joss Butler.
Oh, Universe Joss. Okay. Top wicket taker. I think Joffrey's taking this one. Tim?
Rashid Khan. I think it's gonna be. I think there's gonna be a lot of wickets going to spin in general in this tournament. So I think if David plays, David's gonna get a lot of wickets. I think Adil Rashid is gonna get a lot of wickets. But I'm gonna go Rashid Khan. I know he's my Cape boy, but I can't look past Rashid at the moment.
Vanna?
This is very funny because I'm also going in my Cape. I'm going for the other guy. I'm going for Sam Curran. So we're basically saying the most wickets are going to come of one of three guys from MI Cape Town. Yes. So I'm going Sam. Yeah, that's horrible for the other teams because Sam he'll swing the ball in the power play and he'll bowl and the death overs. So and the death overs is where you generally pick up the most wickets. So I'm thinking Sam Curran. I like the Jofra Archer one as well. You'll play you ball in the death overs as well, but I'll go Sam Curran.
This is Joffrey's comeback. Okay, local star who's going to impress the most. I can't go past Sisanda Magala, but if I want to look at somebody of a lower price, actually not necessarily lower price, but somebody who people don't know, I'll say local star is going to impress the most is Wesley Marshall. I think, it's his moment.
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. I'm gonna go Evan Jones. Evan Jones is in that purple patch right now. He is doing well domestically. He's taken the middle of the Division 1 cricket. I think this is his moment. This is his moment to say, pick me for South Africa. Evan Jones.
Vanna?
If I'm allowed to, I'm gonna say Donovan Ferrara. I just feel it's coming together for this guy. He's seeing it big. He's hitting it far. I think Donovan Ferrara and the Super Kings are going to need him in that middle order. So I think it's his time. And at the Wanderers, I wouldn't want to be bowling to him.
Yes, I think that's the thing. But that's awesome. That brings us to the end of our show. Thank you very much, Vanna, for joining. Thank you very much, Tim. And now we know predictions and everything else. The games can begin. We've probably got a final before a final in the opening game between MI Cape Town and PAARL Royals, because it could be a really nice final. It also could be an explosive one, but please do check that out and do check out all the games that are happening. And every week, Tim and I will be talking about them. Might bring Vanna in to just check in and see who's doing well, who's doing what. But Vanna, your YouTube channel for the people?
Yeah, it's a cricket talent. The idea is just to showcase the talent we have in this country. Anyone you might not know, any guys coming from school level, anything like that you want to see, I have some clips up there. Probably take a little break now because the previews has taken a lot out of me, but then I'll get going again.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, man. Cheers, Tim. Cheers, everybody. And thank you very much. Enjoy the tournament. Goodbye, good night, or good day, and Lesale Kakasiso.